So when I started this playthrough, I was adamant I was going to take out Lost Hills before I took on Kaiser. Now I've spent last couple of days doing some testing, and unfortunately I cannot find a way of doing that, just like I was warned on Reddit and in some of my community posts. The problem doesn't seem to be raising the tension between the NCR and Lost Hills or getting an army size. The problem seems to be locked behind these battle plans. The one that affects me is either Blue Hawk, which, as you can see reading here, I need to make sure that New Vegas, the Paz Bandits, Kaiser's Legion and Navarro are taken care of, or Brown Bear, where I have 300 military factories and more than 300 controlled states. So it seems to be locked behind that. But no matter, they will get what's coming to them in due time. I now have just over a year and a half before Kaiser should launch the second Battle of Hoover Dam. So I am going to be preparing for that. But to get things started, between episode 3 and 4, many of you voted that I should continue to help out New Reno. So I'm going to do exactly that by sending in some volunteers. Now, because of the size of my army, I can send in 3, so I'm going to send the whole of 8th Division to assist there. And then the voting also went towards that I must reopen negotiations with regards to 4-ways, so I'm going to be doing that. But the big thing I want to do while we are busy with this episode is, before the second Battle of Hoover Dam, I want to get my number of units up to, or as close as I can to 100. So I have more than enough manpower to take on Kaiser. So to do that, I'm going to add on a unit of training for power armor, and then a few units of infantry. Fortunately, I'm still short on tanks, so that will just have to carry on in the background. Now, because I can't take on Lost Hills, I need to choose focuses that don't raise my tension with them too much, because that will affect a lot of things like my political power gain, etc. So the first focus I'm actually going to choose is all the way down here, Roaring Economy, which I want. The gains here is very, very nice, but I want the extra research slots so I can start working on my land doctrine. So, Roaring Economy. Our long years of suffering and disunity are over, and California is finally united under Grant C. Haynes. The bear roars once more. So let's start that one off. So Reno accepted my volunteers to help in their fight, and they have arrived. Now they seem to have this wall north between Murdoch and the Free States under control, between them and the Den. So I'm going to focus 8th Battalion down here against Sons of Cargo. So I'm going to put them there, and I'm going to put them on a breakthrough down here to go along the mountain ridge here, and hopefully the New Reno forces will support mine. So I've gotten enough political power to reopen the 4-ways talks, so I'm going to do that as you all asked. All eyes on 4-ways. Just read this out again. While the NCR has fully begun to fully take on the mantle of a truly Californian republic, Arroyo has grown to consolidate most of southern Oregon. Both nations, with their slow-growing empires, have focused on fourways as a potential source of economic support, a natural junction for traders traveling from Oregon to California. Fourways provide safe harbor to weary souls, taking a generous cut in the process. Despite their amassed wealth, Fourways is being slowly torn in two directions, towards the powerful new California Republic in the south and the upstart Arroyo in the north. NCR will prevail. Now, I have the same options here. Arroyo does have a very large lead in coercion compared to me, but I am not willing to give up my civilian workshops. But I have learned my lesson from episode 3, and I will not begin negotiations until I have a lead. So I'm going to bribe border guards because I have plenty of caps for that. I'll take that away. That I'm going to leave for quite a while. I'll have a look at it as things go. See, I want to do this. I want to get my coercion up high enough that I can actually just declare war and take forwards for myself. Okay, not willing to give up my stability either. Once I get a chance, I will secure the borders to bring that up. Tighten my grip. I will actually. I've got 8, so I will do this one. That's not going to happen, and that's all that I'm going to do for now. 8th Division is still getting into position to start their push against Kaga, and I'm hoping it goes well. Okay, so Roaring Economy is finished. Now that research slot I am going to use to start my land doctrine research, and I am going to go for refined warfare, going down the flexibility of command and then principal legs. I've chosen this number 1 because of the power armor that I'm going to be using. This is the only tree that supports heavy special forces, which I'll be relying on a lot, but also it does give buffs to not only infantry but army as well. So this one, for example, will actually even boost my tanks ever so slightly. If I was going to do light special forces, I'd actually go down asymmetric with ancient tactics. This does a lot of great stuff for light special forces. But power armor, so refined warfare, also fits in with Hayes's old world views. Then with Roaring Economy done, I'm going to continue down this branch and do Old World Comes Knocking. Unlike the actions of the previous administrations, who were only interested in expanding for the sake of profit and greed, I intend to expand the new California Republic to take back what we lost from the old world and to discover new technologies along the way. Some may find issue with this, but I've never been one to be constrained by the complaints of the small-minded. And I will get a time penalty reduction and a research bonus into sophisticated technology. Nice. Okay. And more importantly, 10% will get added to my war support. Now, I was under the impression that I had to get a high coercion score for this aggressive negotiations to become available, but it seems that Arroyo having it is good enough for me. So I've moved the entire bit of my NCR army onto the border 4 ways, because even though Arroyo currently has a non-aggression pact with me and is no longer guaranteeing 4 ways, I've still got a concern that they might want to go to war. So let's begin aggressive negotiations. 4 ways attacked. Our best efforts at resolving the 4-way situation diplomatically seem to have failed. As a nation, we hope to court has now been ruthlessly attacked by our counterparts. Okay. While this isn't what we hoped for, a direct military response is unlikely. Many of our people already see this dispute as a needless source of tension and will probably just be glad to see it over with. However, this bellicosity has enraged our military, and our generals are currently drafting plans to undermine the enemy advance. We'll show them. Okay. 8% war support. Gains military response. Max volunteer force +2. And I am at war with 4 ways. Okay, a bit of a confusing one there, because this seems to see that I'm at peace and I can send volunteers to help, but I'm at war, and of course now my volunteer forces have been sent back to me. 4 ways attack, so we'll show them. I'm going to start this off. So it's a bit confusing. This I do not think will take long. I'm not going to accept anybody to come help me in this war. Let's get my construction up. Yes. What decision do I have here? Tax break for factories. I'm not going to need that right now. And that was over almost as soon as it began. So 4 ways. You are now mine. There we are. Now I'm going to send my volunteers back to New Reno. Ooh, I can send 5. Wait a minute, this is lovely stuff. There we go, 5. Let's go, boys. Alright, the old wall comes knocking is finished. Now I want to see about the steel lady. So Colonel Cassandra Moore, quite an intriguing lady, having read over her files and contributions to the old NCR. For a woman who served 4 tours against the Brotherhood of all people, she looks remarkably young and beautiful for her age, despite her steely nature. That said, I am in need of someone who shares my disgust and vehement opinion of the Brotherhood. I must arrange a meeting with myself and the Steel Lady of California. We're going to have a nice event there in 30 days. The Steel Lady of California. Hayes paced in his president-elect office chambers. He had called for Moore to meet with him, taking note of her endeavors despite the ongoing Mojave campaign. As you may have come to know, despite your time out of the country, I am a man of the 2070s, yet I reach for the future to bring us back to that era. Moore glared, taking an immense interest in the floor that continued to look towards the bespectacled candidate. An interesting proposition, if it weren't coming from a man who has more in common with a certain group of bug-out freaks than bug-ear choppers. A pause impregnated itself in the room, only broken by the lamentation of the future president of the NCR. I believe in the old ways. I believe in the values and traditions that have been passed down through generations of American history. But I also believe in the future, our future. I believe in the potential of the NCR and the world we can make beyond New California. I believe that we can create something better than what we have now. That's why I wanted to become president, and now I have. You're another idealist then, Moore shook her head, unable to believe she had come to meet with the president, only to find that he was as foolish as the past administrations she had served under. Hayes stood tall, the light of the room reflecting his spectacles into brilliant discs. I believe in the glory of the old United States. I believe in the power of democracy. I believe that if we work together, we can make a difference. We can create a brighter future. And what will you do if you can't do that? A glaze formed over the eyes behind the discs, quickly taken away by a flutter of blinks and renewed vigor. You know what they said in the old world. Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. More cautiously gazed at the albino soon to be present. She still saw yet another useless man who would likely go on to grind up thousands of men in some pointless faraway war. But she couldn't help but have some confidence in the man's bravado and self-assurance. She outstretched her gloved hand. "Mr. President, I believe you have yourself a supporter. 25 army experience. Oh, and the tension has gone up by 10 points, and Cassandra Moore has joined the new California Republic." Now I wonder if I get her as a unit leader. Let's have a look. Yes, I do, as a commanding officer. I've got more commanding officers than unit officers with this run. Okay, she will lead my next division. Now for my next focus, I am going to go for the divide, so that will be unite them. Divide is a prosperous community along the trade routes to the Mojave, but if we wish to truly protect the region, we should occupy it directly. And they'll give me a claim and a war goal against the divide's core territories. Now, I will take the divide because it gives me another route to support Mojave territories later, other than the long 15. I am not going to right now take on the rapids, and if I do, after I conquer them, I will just make them into a puppet. My reason for doing this is, if you've played NCR before, this is one hell of a coastline and land crossings to put men on to protect. I'd have a much better time of it using my navy and hopefully some garrison units to guard this coastline here on the west coast, and focus my efforts here at the Mojave territories, and if I have enough manpower, maybe throw in a naval invasion. But for now, the divide is my next target. So I was going to sit on this war goal for a little bit until at least New Reno taken care of Murdoch and the Free States, but since my boys seem to be doing majority of the heavy lifting here, I am not going to do that, because why must my men die like that? So I'm going to carry on with New Necropolis, our metropolis. Since Tundi's passing, discrimination against the Ghoul community became more common. We must pass legislation to stand for Ghoul rights, and further, let us build a home for ghouls, a new necropolis. I hear they're great for gentrification, okay? 5 building slots, whole bunch of resources, changing the name. This is what I'm interested in. The 5% increase to construction speed. And since I am not willing to waste my men unnecessarily, if New Reno doesn't want to do their part, it's time to declare war on the divide. And get this done. So what I've gone for here is a very simple divide sandwich. I've got 2nd Division taken from the north, 1st Division taken from the south, both armies fill up with 20, a mixture of power armor, infantry and tanks, and so far they're doing quite well. The divide is not a nation that to be taken lightly, same as with the rapids. These general focus trees do give them quite a good boost to their defenses, but it seems my tanks are pushing through here. Alright, so our metropolis has been renamed new necropolis. Now, I do know that my tension is currently at 35 out of 100, but I really want this youth league focus for the less consumer goods and more political power and more stability on top of that. So I will have to take Revive Union of the Atomic Workers, even though it's going to raise my tension by 5. Many who tried to keep the light of civilization on after the war, many failed. The Union of Atomic Workers tried to keep nuclear plants going after the war, but were destroyed by mutants. But was that not a noble dream? Why should the NCR not harness power of the atom? So I get Dayglow gets 24 power. I get another research bonus for 2 technologies, but that's for power stations, so I probably won't use that. But this is just a step that I need to take to getting the youth league. So I'm going to do that. One thing I do like when running, I haven't done any micromanagement here, but when you have so many units, you do get these lovely little pockets of encirclements, and the best way to actually take care of that automatically is just to set your guys to aggressive, and then they will attack in whatever direction the enemy is in automatically. And the divide is mine. Now, originally I was actually planning on puppeting this. I wanted to see if I could get Ulysses as a unit leader once I annexed them, to see if he survived. But literally in this last moment I've decided to annex them as I normally would, because I don't want to waste the focuses that I get that actually improve the state quite a bit. So literally in this last moment I've changed my mind. Won't really impact my game that much in all, as long as I leave these rapids alone, or if I do attack them, definitely puppet them. So that's some more power for the people. I wish my government could create more power for the country like the way they do here. So now the one I want is Youth League. Outside of the lucky few, you cannot find a citizen who lived their childhood without being scared for life after witnessing one of many horrors wasteland threw at them. Many citizens grow up without ever seeing any other town due to the hostile wildlife. Led by the retired rangers, our youth league will promote a healthy lifestyle and a strong moral compass for future citizens. So, sounds like the Scouts. The NCR economy will require 5% fewer consumer goods and receive 5% more political power, and I will get a nice 5% boost to my stability. Now, I've sent my volunteers back in, and again this time helping against cargo, but I have also started a little justification which will be finished in 121 days. So if the volunteers can't take care of all this, then I'll send in 2nd Division to finish these guys off, as this is my main threat to the future compared to, I don't know what's happening up top here, honestly. Alright, the Youth League is established. With that done, I now want to consolidate my territory in the Old Divide by going eastward ho. We must explore the connection across the divide to unite the Mojave and the heart of the Republic. Can you imagine how awful it would be if we were dependent on the Long 15? And this is why I eventually decided to actually just annex everything. So big boost to my compliance and for the infrastructure and some water, which will all finish in 30 days. And that's eastward ho finished. So let me do this last one here. the Crimson Caravan routes. Cementing control over the divide has been invaluable, but now we can find a true caravan route between Mojave and NCR. No longer will our supply lines be dependent on random caravan groups, and I'll get 2 levels of outposts along the railway from Renoville to Mountain Springs. I'll have a stabilized Crimson Caravan, which will give me another 5% stability and caps income, and the same will happen to the Mojave territories. Alright, so it's the 1st of January 2279, so I now have, give or take, 8 months until I can expect Kaiser to launch his attack on the Hoover Dam again. So what I've done is I've decided to halt my construction of other buildings and just build a nice defensive line on long 15 and vault 3 here with max bunkers and outposts, just in case things go pear-shaped for me. Then I'm going to swap this around. I'm going to cancel this training of Power Rangers. Instead, I'm actually going to add a unit of tanks on, since that seems to be in the green now. So far, I want to pick my production up of, or recruitment up just a little bit more, so I can get some more numbers. This is something I like that they've added in, as now you can see at a glance. That's my maximum amount of special forces units I can have, and I'm currently 104 out of 150. You no longer have to go dig around here in the army tab to find out what the hell is actually going on. Nice addition, that. Alright, the Crimson Caravan route is established. Now I want to do some more preparation for war, so I'm going to go with military march. The marching drills of Big Jim have been met with astounding frustration from the average soldier, who loathes the idea of marching for days on end even after one has met the physical requirements. The point of these exercises is to increase the overall mobility of infantry as a unit rather than individuals. The standardization of mobility and increased mileage of foot soldiers is a general boon. So I'll get a nice 10% boost to division speed and a 5% boost to my organization, but it is a 45-day focus, so I'd rather get that done now than later. Okay, this is not that good for me. Lanius has decided to go west, so Legate Lanius, monster of the east and conqueror of 19 tribes, has come west, following the conclusion of a bloody military campaign in New Mexico and Colorado, which saw the legions subsume the tribes of Dog City and Twin Mothers. The legate has reportedly arrived on the eastern bank of the Colorado River to command the legion's massed forces there. One of Kaiser's most highly respected and feared military commanders, the arrival of the legate and his eastern cohort signifies a new level of intensity in the legion's campaign in the Mojave and beyond. We're going to have to stop this monster. Alright, I'm now tired of messing around with volunteers. My justification against cargo is finished, so I'm going to use it immediately. Take care of this weak spot I have to the north, and hopefully show these new Reno guys how things are done. Okay, so military march is finished. Now I want to boost my power armor, so masters of our fate. The Brotherhood is in no position to bully us around. They are a dying tribe, like so many others who stood in the way of life, liberty, and the pursuit of prosperity. And if they believe they can tell us what technologies are and are not fit for the wasteland, we can remind them while we are the masters of California, not they. And we'll change from matching the Brotherhood to taunting the Brotherhood. No increase in the tension, no, so that's good. But I'm going to a whole bunch of boosts to basically everything, and 200 free units of power armor which is great. Now I want to see that boost in. Ooh, that's gone up by about 5 points. I'm sure this is about 46. Infantry is about, yeah, it's gone up by about 5. Tanks was my lowest, that was like 32, 36. Good, so that 5% is already starting to show some benefits, as is using a proper full army instead of volunteers against Karga. Although I might have to do some market management just to push them the way I want them to go, so they can leave room for Reno to still do something. Okay, I did change things for a standard breakthrough order here along the south, and already they're pushing in more of the direction that I want them to. Let's get you to, okay, you're attacking. I need someone who's not attacking. Can you just go there, take that? Oh, more units. Lovely. I'm up to 56 here now. I was hoping for a bit more, but that's still pretty good. And I can do a new development project. Now the ones I'm focusing on are the air technology ones. The other ones I can leave. So that's the last air technology. That will take 180 days. And maybe I should show you the research that I've done. These are my volunteers from Eagle Rock. Welcome. So I am sticking more for role-playing purposes than anything else. I'm going to be sticking with ballistic weapons. I have pushed all the way up to NCR salvage power armor. And also for role-playing, I have gone with ballistic LMG, go for high explosives, and just continuing down here for tanks. Working on my wasteland tank. That's the top model I think I'll be able to use for this game. So then I'll use army experience to boost it after that. And I'll luckily have my top intermediate aircraft ready, so when I unlock sophisticated, I can jump straight across onto that. Okay, Masters of Our Fate is completed. So now I'm going to do the big gym effort. You will notice that I'm not messing with these three now. I don't really need the production boost and all that right now. What's more important to me is actually doing passive boots for the units that I have. That's what I'm focusing on. So the big gym draft will be next. The big gym draft is something few people actually expected to see, as many in the NCR felt that conscription is one of the leading issues in relation to the quality of NCR's military forces. Yet as Jim's doctrine stresses the importance of overwhelming numbers of high-quality infantry, the need to enlist more men and women, willing or otherwise. It is a necessity, and I'm going to get 10% boost to fire team and support attack. So fire team, infantry, support and attack and defense. Okay, so fire team, whether it's a normal frontline or support unit, will get a 10% boost to attack and defense. That's what they're trying to say there. Okay, that is fine by me. Okay, I've actually remembered something now. When this alert for the justification comes up, if I remember correctly, it's a 30-day focus. Now that came up about 2 weeks ago, which means I've got about 2 weeks until Kaiser declares war on the Mojave territories, and I'll of course join into that. Unfortunately, I didn't get up to triple digits, but 69 is a good number anyways. But I think I'm going to end this episode off here, so that episode 5 will kick off with the second battle of Hoover Dam. So if you haven't yet, maybe consider subscribing to my channel so you'll know when that episode comes out. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.